closing, Ms Lauder.
Thank you, Madam Speaker, and I would like to thank my Assembly colleagues for their comments on this important topic today. I'd like to reassure the Minister that whilst I would love to take responsibility for it, this motion actually did come from Ms Lee before her unexpected absence due to the birth of her baby over the weekend, and so I'd like to place on record my congratulations to Ms Lee and her family on the arrival of their daughter Mia. And it's very timely that we talk about this topic, as well as our earlier topic today, our earlier motion about green organic waste and food organic waste, because today, the 5th of June, is of course World Environment Day. We are aware that we have a national waste crisis. We need to reduce, reuse, recycle. And as I've already said, Canberrans are very good at this, and they're to be applauded for the work that they're doing. Whilst my colleagues on the other side try hard to paint us as non-believers or deniers or whatever you want to do, historically, as well as in the current day, that is absolutely not the case. I could remind you that it was our party that in 1914 first declared the first conservation land in the ACT. I could remind those opposite that in 1934 it was our side of politics that declared the Gudgeonby Nature Reserve. Just picking just a couple of little examples, Madam Speaker, I could remind my colleagues that in 1971 it was our side of politics that declared the Tidbinbilla Nature Reserve. And I could remind you that just last week we committed to some land care or catchment group funding. There's just a very brief snapshot of our ongoing work in this area. So today I'm happy enough to support the Minister's amendments, and I thank him for circulating those. This is an area where time and time again those opposite want to lead Australia, or indeed the world, by bringing in new things and be the first. In this particular regard, I'm pleased to support Mr Steele's amendment of the motion today, because what it appears to be is a ringing endorsement of the approach taken by the Morrison government, because the Minister here, instead of wanting to be world leading or even Australia leading, as they are try to do in many respects, wants to abrogate all responsibility to the federal government. So I'm very pleased that he's seen that this is an endorsement of the work of my federal colleagues. This is an important issue. It's one that Canberrans will increasingly face over the coming years. The failure or the end of useful life cycle of their solar panels, and our wish not to add to landfill by putting them into landfill. There are resources that can be retrieved from solar panels whilst being aware of potential contaminants and things that we don't want involved in our landfill. So I'd like to thank my colleagues for their contribution today, thank them for their thoughtful comments and their support of what is in effect Ms Lee's motion as the Shadow Minister for the Environment. I'd like to thank her office for the work they put on this, and we'll support the amendment today.
Question is that Mr Steele's amendment be agreed to. Those of that opinion say aye. To the contrary, no. The ayes have it. The question now is that the motion as amended be agreed to. Those of that opinion say aye. To the contrary, no. The ayes have it.